everybody got out. Came all the way back over here. So. I guess Mark won that bet because we were taking over. He's like, they're gonna get out. I'm like, no, they're not gonna get out. So Mark was right. You gonna go put them back? All right. It figures when we're trying to get out here with our cedar and finally get our garden in, just all, you know what, breaks loose. It's almost like we're not allowed to work uninterrupted, but that's just life on a homestead too. I mean, there's always something going on. Oh, that has all my corn in it. Today we're down here. We were supposed to be frost free after last Sunday. It's now the Saturday following. We had 3 or 4 really hard frosts, so we're gonna go ahead and get our corn in. Now for our in-ground garden this year, it's mostly gonna be all kinds of different types of white corn. Now last year I did some experimenting when it came to different colored corn. So I had purple corn, I had glass gem, I had ruby corn, and all were great, but they just weren't really good for eating. They were more decorative, and really if I'm going to allow space in my garden for vegetables, or I'm going to put in the time, I'd really like it to be something that like I can eat, not just look pretty. So everything we've got this year is like white or bicolored sweet corn, and then I've got a ton of flowers. Like I bought more flowers this year than I did actual vegetables. But the flowers kind of pay off because number one, they make me super happy. They bring me joy. And number two, with 4 hives this year, I feel like it's super important to give our pollinators some in-yard sources of feed. So we're gonna go ahead. We've got our cedar from Amazon. Guys, this thing is a game changer. I've had it for 3 years now. Before I would go through and I would literally walk these rows and plop, plop, plop. My back hurt, I just was sore. It made me not really look forward to it.
You have to set it up first.
Yeah, we do have to set it up. So it does come with like different types of wheels, but it's really nice because like on the wheels, it'll tell you what it's really suited for based off of the seed size.
This one says leek, asparagus, and spinach.
Yeah, then there's some in there for tomatoes. There's some in there for like okra. What we've got in there right now is like cucumber and corn seeds because they're just a little bit bigger. They're a little fatter. So, and you guys can see like this size compared to this size, like you guys can see there's a big difference.
They're small seeds.
Yeah, and it's also got like an arm here. I'm sorry. It's got an arm that comes out, and that can help you. Number one, it's kind of like a kickstand for me when I'm not using it. I can kind of set it out, and the whole cedar won't fall over. But really, the main reason for this arm, and it can go to either side of this cedar, is that you can put it on the line that you just planted, and it's going to give you a specific spacing between your rows. Now this year, and you can see like it's adjustable if you wanted to get really close. It also holds in right here. Now I will say this was a little bit more of an expensive purchase. It was 100 and some change, but I appreciate this. It's what?
Motor powered.
It's motor powered.
It makes sense. Human motor.
God. You see what I work with? Are you going to do that the whole time we plant?
Yeah.
Vroom, vroom.
Makes the work more efficient.
Be careful moving that front wheel. So if you needed to move this around, you would actually lift the front wheel up and you would just roll on the back wheel. This front wheel is what moves, because you can see the belt right here is what turns the device that pulls.
Hooks the teeth
Yeah,
on
the disc on the inside kind of pulls it up, and you'll see this tube brings it down and right in here for where it plants. And it's got like this nice little edge it kind of digs in, but you guys have probably noticed I've already kind of gone through and I made tracks to make it easier for us. It does have kind of what do you want to call that behind there, like a skirt. It's got like a skirt behind that blade that helps to push the dirt aside. It's to bring the dirt back over, but for corn and some things that need mounded and to encourage drainage away from your roots, we kind of just go through and we rake. But this really saves me a lot. I'm going to go ahead and link it down in Amazon, an Amazon affiliate link down below. If you guys are interested in it, go ahead, check it out. I would never put anything on my channel that I haven't tried and thought that it was going to be
or we
helpful.
become the guinea pig for.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't mind being a guinea pig and showing you guys. So like with the soil blocks, we kind of guinea pigged with that. I like them, but I can see there are some pros and cons, but we can go over that at the end. We'll make another video for a complete review of that. I like it better than putting them in plastic containers or anything like that. But then the cat wants to just lay where we're getting ready to go. But yeah, go ahead and check that out if you want. But we really need to get planning because it's supposed to get in the 80s today. And it's what, 10:30?
We hope to.
Yeah, we had the duck hatching eggs, and then we've got needing to move the drakes, and I needed to move baby goats, and yeah, because the frost has been kind of unpredictable.
Last weekend.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's the only thing about homesteading. You are a slave to your animals and the weather and everything else. So let's go ahead and get this started. I pull up to disengage that wheel. Get ready to... That's the only bad thing about this thing. You don't have enough seeds, it doesn't really want to catch, so you have to make sure it's really full. So you almost have to kind of think about the quantity you think each row might take depending on how big your rows are. But you guys can see now we're done with the 2 rows. We planted Dakota ivory. I hope we have good luck with corn this year like we did last year. But odds are probably not. So this thing is great too because that flat wheel in the back kind of flattens it out. You can kind of tell exactly where your rows are, which is nice because I opened up these rows, what was it, 2 nights ago, Mark? And they kind of get lost as the soil bakes because we're getting to that point in the year where we're getting rain, sun, but the last couple of days it's been all sun. So it's baked a little bit of our soil, but when you run it through there, it really does flatten it out. And you can see like it does do a good job spacing things out, and I'm not hurting my back. This will hurt my back by the time we're done, but it's got to be done because the corn especially really needs to be mounded so that you can kind of keep their feet a little dry. What do you think there?
I think it looks great.
All right, now that we're done with all of our corn, and Mark came up with a great idea that I've never done before in all my years of gardening, of making sure to take a picture of the rows of corn that we planted and to just make something that helps me know what's in each row. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that up on the screen. Then you can see most of this area has been planted with bi-color, bilicious sweet corn. Then in the last couple of rows, we've got ambrosia white, which did really well for us last year. It's actually some that we have left over from our planting last year. So while I don't have high hopes to see germination on all of these, it grew really well in this plot last year and actually gave us corn. And if you remember from any of the vlogs in the garden last year, you know that I am not good with corn. The corn gods rarely smile down upon us, but they did last year. We even got corn smut. Look at this clip from last year. I'm not sure if you guys are really familiar with this, but I've actually been seeing this a lot here in Indiana lately. This is considered corn smut. So apparently this is a Mexican delicacy that goes into huitlacoche. I'm probably butchering the way that that is pronounced, but it's actually a fungus that's present in corn. And I've seen a lot of it here in Indiana this year, especially on some of the gardening forums that we're a part of. And I just think it's because it's been really hot, but we've had a lot of rainfall this summer. We usually go into a drought period, and this year it just hasn't happened. So I'm guessing this might be due to some of the humidity. So now that we're done with corn, we've taken a breather. We've been moving a lot of Muscovy ducks this morning, but if you guys missed that episode, I'm going to link it up top if you want to see what was going on with our Muscovy ducks that broke into our day of planting. But since we're done with corn, now I've got all... I have a seed problem, but what gardener does not have a true seed problem? So Mark loves gladiolas, so do I. We've got zinnias. So a good portion of this side of my garden is actually going to be flowers. The only other thing that we'll be planting in our garden plot in ground will probably be a couple different variations of watermelon, honeydews, and cantaloupes. So the majority of the flowers that we're going to be planting today are going to be all kinds of different varieties of sunflowers. I love sunflowers. I saved sunflowers from last year. I'll also link that up top so that you've got that knowledge. If it's your first year gardening and you want to keep some of those sunflower seeds, I'm going to show you how to do that. Next, I love zinnias. These have always been one of my favorites, and they're almost a fail-safe flower to plant in your flower garden. And they come in all kinds of different varieties. I've gotten things from the dollar store. I've gotten things from Walmart, from Baker Creek heirloom seeds. They come in all kinds of different varieties, and because of all of those pops of color, and a couple new varieties that I'm inviting into my garden this year specifically for our pollinators, which is our beehives down there. We currently have 4 beehives. We have the Buckeye hive, the CC hive, the blackberry or BB hive, and honey locust hive. But I have different varieties of yarrow. I am going to be planting amaranth this year. And then I've actually never planted coxcomb, but I adore it. Every farmer's market I go to in late fall, they've always got coxcomb, and I've never grown it myself, but I've always admired it and wished that I would have remembered to get the seeds. So this was special to do for me this year when it came to my seed orders. Then we've got 2 different varieties of celosia. So you got the Chinese wallflower and then the more common celosia there, along with buckwheat, balsam, and sawflowers. So we've got a whole lot to plant, guys. Some of these I've never planted before, so I might have a black thumb when it comes to these new varieties of seeds, but you never know until you try, and try we will do.
Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane, and as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise. And now there's something in the air and a sparkly shimmer on our skin, restoring everything within. Oh, dreamy, breezy, we go. Easy, easy on our tiptoes.
You only care about me a little bit? Whatever happened to man's best friend? Would you be hoping to man's best friend, Pop House? Oh yes. Come on. Good boy. Da-da, 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 da-da. Guys, I have got to say, I really wish I would have started my seeds about 2 weeks earlier. Now the cucumbers look good. The broccolis and the cauliflower, they just never like me. They're like corn, they hate me. Buddy, they hate me, Mr. Squiggy. Squiggy's still mad, he escaped too. Squiggy and Sir Quackers were separated from the ladies while they have babies. They don't like it. So he's my gardening buddy today. What do you think, Squigs? What do you think? I think he likes it. You guys can see some of this soil in these boxes really needs amended. But what I plan to do is I'm going to go ahead. These are actually bell peppers. And I like the way the soil blocks kind of help me set up my spacing and stuff. And it makes transferring super easy. So I think I'll do that again. I have noticed that you have to be on the ball when it comes to watering these guys. And it may be just because of the compost mixture that I use. It seems like it wanted to dry out and get crusty a lot faster than I would have liked. So I just needed time. I need to better time out my watering. But we're getting bell peppers in today. We're getting our jalapenos. And I did see I do have some jalapenos that look like they're volunteering again for like the 3rd or 4th year. It's crazy. But we've got all kinds of different tomatoes. So we've got Mortgage Busters, we've got black crims from my good friend Adrian over at Farmstead Smith, we've got yellow pears, and I think I've got one more crim. Oh, Roma tomatoes. You can't have tomatoes without that. Anybody that knows me knows I really dislike tomatoes. I don't like eating them, but I love growing them, so they make really good gifts. And maybe this year I'll take a tomato challenge and try to eat one without throwing up on one of our lives or something. We're officially done out here. We've got in corn. So corn starts all the way over there, which I do have a little bit of a clear space. And I'm thinking taters, thinking potatoes. Probably gonna do a little bit of the trench method and just pile on. I tried them in bags last year and it was great, but I got teeny tiny taters. So they were like tater tots, not real tomato, not real potatoes. And then where we bump in right here. So this row is corn, and then one row past is corn. And then the rest, flowers. So we planted all kinds of sunflowers. We planted Mongolian giants. Super excited about those. But at the end of this, I did go ahead and put in 2 different varieties of watermelon. So I think I put in baby crimsons or crimson sweets, like they're smaller, but they're known for their taste. And then I've got Carolina crosses, which are supposed to be like the honkin' big melons. Really big watermelons. And then cantaloupe down at the very end. And I didn't mound this year. Usually I mound, but I'm gonna be really honest, guys. I don't have any luck mounding my melons. They really hate it. They hate it a lot, and they don't like to grow for me when I do it. So I figured I'm just gonna go ahead and put them in a row like I would corn. So they're completely experimental. Anything that I get off of them, if I get anything, is a win. So we're just trying things different. And you should never be afraid to try something different in your garden. Especially if you've got something where it's like, I've never planted this. Plant it, for crying out loud. You never know. It could be one of the best things you ever plant. It could become one of your favorites. Or if you've planted potatoes a specific way, or watermelon in my case, get really close to the water. But if you've planted them in a specific way for all of these years and they've never worked, try something new. Try something new. The garden is the most forgiving place. It's the most forgiving place. I think that's why I like being out here sometimes. Look at those future strawberries. Oh boy. Hello, gorgeous.